Hi and welcome to the item. This is item number A501, the Digital Rainbow tablets. And today I'm joined by Johnny from the Digital Rainbow. Hello Johnny, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Conrad. Thanks for inviting me down.
Fantastic. And let's have a little bit of background about your company and maybe a little bit of history about it.
Yeah, okay. So the Digital Rainbow was actually originally formed for nurseries, believe it or not, from the education sector. Now, because of that, as we're a family firm, my mother was awarded an MBE for services to education. Subsequently, my father got an MBE for his services to hospice and care, believe it or not. So it's quite a popular thing in our family, so I don't know if I'm next. But we were very much focused on giving technology to education.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's progressed rather nicely into the care sector.
Absolutely.
So the history really was from that environment, but it was also connected to SEN and autism originally for schools.
Okay.
So allowing the children to have full access and fun using the tablet. And now, of course, as we will discuss and show you, we've now moved on to another sector which has been hugely successful, which is the care market.
Yes, so there's plenty of other products around which I understand, different companies using projection systems. So what made you come across this idea of making a giant tablet?
Well, yes, I'm fully aware of other products that are in the market. And in fact, the original product that first came over in 2012, I think, was Tovertafel, which is ironically Dutch, I believe, for the word magic table.
That's right.
Hence why we all refer to the magic table. So they've done a lot of marketing in this field. But what I guess is the big difference is that this is a different take on that experience. And in fact, so different, we're talking about mobility and accessibility.
Absolutely.
Okay? So the key thing is, and people know who have used those type of technologies, you have to firmly position it on the wall or on the ceiling to use. We're all about inclusion. So the first thing, before I even go into what the product is about to do, it's all about accessibility and inclusion. Now, as you can see, it's on wheels.
Yep.
It's big.
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
but not too big. If it's on the wheels, it's easily moved around. It's fully mobile, fully transportable, no cables, battery operated, and it tilts. Yeah, and I'll show you that later on. But it tilts and it manoeuvres in different directions. So the whole idea of this was accessibility, to allow every resident the opportunity to have access to the product.
That's a great idea.
So that was the first point. And then, of course, secondary was, in fact, the content. The fact that also, from person-centred, we now have technology which enables us to customise it for each individual. So whether or not I'm sat in a wheelchair, on a sofa, on a kitchen chair, or I'm on a bed, I can do any type of activity I wish, in my own comfort, and it can be moved into my room or a social room or a living room. So it's quite a combined difference to the technologies that you mentioned.
Okay then. So thinking of televisions and tablets, they're notorious for fragile screens. So what have you done differently here?
Well, as I mentioned, we started off in the nursery sector. Yeah. So one of the things there was the challenging behaviour of young toddlers. So especially when it's down on the floor. So a lot of the technology was about making it robust, secure, compliant, and as in fact it's very difficult. Well, it's nigh on impossible to knock it over. Yeah. And of course, toughened glass.
Right.
And
I see.
Protecting it from spills and accidents and such like. So it's been developed specifically for the industry that we're in. So in both education and in the care sector, it's been designed to be robust, whilst also looking like a nice piece of furniture.
I do recall when we had a good chat at Birmingham NEC on the Care and Dementia show the other month, that you spoke about person-centred care and how this can actually enhance that. Could you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course I can. Of course I can. Well, let me show you, first of all. Let me just get up on screen here. Lots of images for you. And again, when we do presentations and introductions, we show a lot of it. From a person-centred point of view, this is really, really important. Now, I mentioned to you earlier about accessibility.
Yes.
And hopefully later on in this film, we can show how easy that is by showing the adjustments.
That'd be great.
If the person-centred care is broken down in our world, two different areas: access to everyone, inclusion to everyone. Okay. Yeah. So this is the only product on the market that can offer inclusion for everybody, because this means, as I've mentioned before, accessibility, comfort is really important. So if you're going to enjoy the sensation of using the rainbow table, you need to be comfortable.
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
And because it's battery powered, we've got her plugged in today to charge her up. Once she's charged up, 8 hours. Okay, we have 8 hours of cable-free existence, right? Where we can move this around into any room. Now that could be a bedroom, could be a living room, okay? It could be a private room, you know, it could be anything.
Yeah.
So once we've got it there, we've then got the comfort of the height adjustment, as you'll see from these pictures, where people can then sit in front of it.
Yeah.
So the first thing is that they then will touch. Now whether or not we touch with our knuckles, we touch with our arms, we touch with our elbows or our fingers, it doesn't really matter.
No.
Because we touch.
Absolutely,
okay?
yeah.
So then the other part of the person-centred care would be we can do anything you want. Okay. So therefore we have thousands of different apps available to us.
Thousands?
Thousands.
Wow, that's impressive.
So if we want to play a game of dominoes, or we want to do some painting, or we want to fly an aeroplane, or we want to touch some sensory-based apps, we can do that. So if you take full accessibility and then you take full inclusion by being able to do what you want, we think we've pretty much got the person-centred care using technology to the best that we can get to.
No, I think so.
So it's really all about getting them to the screen. So let me show you something.
Sure.
So if we've got someone comfortably sat down, right? We're sitting there in their armchair, like in the chair that you're in now. We could have this wheeled right round so it's right in front, very comfy. Or there could be two of us. We could be sat next to each other, okay? And then, of course, we're then going to invite them to touch the screen. Now, as I mentioned, it can be any part of your hand. It doesn't have to just be your fingers.
Yeah.
All right? Now, there's something else that can happen. Do you want to have a go?
So this can be used simultaneously by more than one person?
Exactly.
Fantastic.
So if you then want to have a go, we can then both touch the screen together. So unlike other technology that's on the market, this is multi-touch.
Right.
So it's designed to allow more than a few digits. I think it's 10, actually.
Wow.
Now, if we happen to have some eyesight issues going on, we can also change the background colour and invert colours. So we're now sensitive to eyesight. Okay.
Yeah.
So from a person-centred point of view, yet again, it's inclusion. So if that resident now sees the screen easier because of the highlighted background, we've achieved a result.
Absolutely.
So the whole idea is all about touch. Okay. And so accessibility and a whole host of things that we can do. That's pretty much how we define person-centred care.
Fantastic. That's great. So you visited many care homes and that, and well, your customers, should we say, and you tell me obviously the great positive response you had from the residents. But how about the staff?
That's a really good question. I think during this whole pandemic and this whole experience we've all unfortunately had to go through, the digital rainbow table has been a significant success, not just for the residents. One of the huge benefits is that it complies with the PPE side of things, which means it can be cleaned and sanitised all the time. So it's been fantastic. So multiple people can touch it and it's safe because we can wipe it all down with an alcohol base, and fantastic. That has made the staff's job so much easier in them worrying about the virus and in worrying about how to continue to deliver activities and games. So I think it's had a huge impact on the staff, enabling them to do their job easier during these incredibly difficult times. So yes, it's really important that we mention those people. They have been instrumental in helping the success for the residents, but because we can clean it and it's mobile and you've got all this accessibility and they love the technology, it's been a huge benefit to the staff, and I think that should be mentioned. So thanks for asking the question.
Yeah, and I can see how simple it would be to clean, even in between frequent use from person to person. It looks very easy. It's
very easy. In fact, what most people would do is have wipes or a spray underneath, and you can quite easily. So it's incredibly easy. This table that we're sitting in front of now is a demo table. I wouldn't love to know how many times it's been cleaned, but as you can see, it won't affect it in any way whatsoever. So, you know, even strong alcohol-based wipes and sprays. So that's been a real big plus point.
Fantastic. You also mentioned about the pandemic, obviously in difficult times, especially when care homes have to close and things like that. So thinking of tablets where you can make video calls and things like that, is this something you could do with this as well? So perhaps the residents can then still keep in contact with friends and family?
Yeah, of course. Now, what's really important, and we'll show you at the end of the video, the flexibility of how you move the table up and down and tilt it.
Okay.
But yes, with a built-in zoom camera, we've basically got an opportunity now to have the biggest zoom experience they've ever had. Now, as it's on wheels, we could wheel it into someone's bedroom, so they could have a private consultation with their doctor and, of course, their family. More importantly, their family can not only have a live video link, we could also get them to send directly to the table via email. They could send files and videos for residents to watch as well.
Wow.
But yes, it has a camera built in, so we can use this as a fantastic communication tool.
That's brilliant.
For everybody. So it is a lot of fun.
Excellent. So talking about inclusion, have you got any examples of some of the activities on here which could describe that, should we say, or demonstrate that?
Yeah, of course we can. No, great. Let's show you some diversity of what we're talking about. We'll stick on sensories, so to start with. I want to point out something here is that person-centered care with sensories means that with apps like this, we've got loads of different textures and experiences. So we could have leaves, we could have water, we can have snow, we can have all sorts of stuff. So as we have here, as we've done before, we have lovely flowers that we can touch. So we have a whole array of different types of activities focused on their own sensory requirements. But then we can change, as earlier we were messing around with this, we've then got paints and oils. Right? If you can press the little 3 lines there and go to settings, as you can see, a fantastic array of different colours and different textures. So if we select this one, for example, and now if you touch the little X at the top there, now if we touch it, we have a different sensation going on. So this is more to do with oil and for waters and things like this. So again, from a personality point of view, depending on who is using the table, they have an option to use different types of sensories. Now, here's a sensory-based app where the sensory is already started before we touch the screen. So have you noticed that we've been touching the screen to help it? This one is incredibly popular. And what's nice about this is that this could be birds, it could be butterflies or whatever. But what we have here is we have the fish tank. So the sensory is already working because it's the fish tank. Okay. So then if we touch it now, we then have the sensation of the bubbles. Now if you touch as well, when we talked about multiple touch, so what you find, and also it is enabling you to stretch, or it's encouraging you to stretch your hands across the screen. So there's an air of movement involved as well. So there's a bit of physical activity going on when you're dealing with the sensory-based apps. And so when we focused again on the personality side, what I wanted to show you was that there might be some residents that enjoy a lot of sound and a lot of light and a lot of colour. So I mean, we could turn this up, but you can hear it. And the idea is that we would hit the screen. Now I mentioned the toughened glass before. So this is okay. We can whack it. We can have some fun with it. Okay.
That's
great. It is a lot of fun, but that might not be for everybody's taste. So again, what we can then offer is a slightly more calming sensory experience. So we can go colourful, we can go bright, we can go noisy. All right, we are in a lit up room here, but imagine when the lights are down. Now this is just more peaceful. We could have a different colour background and such like. So we're trying to move the person-centred care element is about the flexibility is offering sensory-based apps to everybody.
Fantastic.
Now, if we move on to the activity side of it, then we have an oasis of different things we can do. Anything. I mean, you literally anything. If you want to go ski jumping, if you want to fly an aeroplane, drive a space rocket up to space, whatever it might be, you can do it. Now, I can see you smiling at me thinking,
absolutely,
really?
I can think of you playing these games
Conrad, yes, one of the most popular apps on our Facebook is watching people flying an aeroplane. Now, would you fathom it? It's fantastic, and it brings so much happiness and joy. It's really, really good. So if we stick to the more common activities, we'll fly an aeroplane later if you like. We'll see. Then we talk about doing simple apps. Now, if you happen to like cats, let's say you do.
We like cats.
And let's just say that you are restricted in your movements, but you're comfortable because of the accessibility we talked about. Then what if we could participate in this? Look how easy that is. Remember, it can be my knuckle, it can be my wrist, it can be any part. We could do this together, by the way, if you want to grab a little piece as well. Okay? And go finish that off. Now, that's now doing a jigsaw puzzle. Your speed, nice and easy, sensitive touch, multi-touch, a nice calming activity. Now here's the thing, in a room, you could be doing the jigsaw puzzle, or two of us could, but in fact 3 or 4 other people sat behind you will also be enjoying a positive outcome of watching you doing the jigsaw puzzle. So in fact the outcomes are all throughout the room, none more so than playing games which would be word related. Okay. So if we were then thinking of word games, word search is very popular.
That always is, absolutely.
Now a word search is usually done by an individual.
Yeah.
So it's quite mono in its existence, and that person is sat quietly. Well, we don't want quiet word searches anymore. We can, but now we have collaborative word searching. So in other words, we could be doing this together, you and I. It's nice and big, so it's good for our eyesight, or we could be in a group.
Yeah.
So we talk about person-centered care. What about group-centered care? What about actually saying to groups, hey, come on everybody, let's have a cup of tea, let's do a word search together. Now here's the thing. We mentioned accessibility earlier, didn't we?
We did indeed.
Right, so if I'm sat in front of it, so if I can see Daniel's name, I'm all right.
Okay.
But what if someone can see Jacob's name over in the corner?
Yeah.
Right? Well, we'd wheel it. Oh, I'll help you. We'd wheel it across the room, so I can wheel it to your chair. Or we could encourage you to get out of your chair, if you're able to, and walk over. So we're talking about collaborative and integration. You know, we're creating an environment which is not just me sitting there with a word search. Everybody can have access, remember. Access to everybody, inclusion for everybody. So, Conrad, here we are. Let me just show you the physical attributes of the table.
Fantastic.
We have 2 models.
Okay.
We have the static height here, which is designed very comfortably for chairs, and then we have a hydraulic lift model, which is ideal for going into bedrooms over beds. Okay. So, as I pointed out, it's cableless.
Yes.
All right. So, and it moves around. Okay. On the nice wheels, we have an ability to go from landscape. Okay. Right through to portrait mode. Okay, with an auto sensor on the screen. So again, from a positional point of view, and we can actually tilt the table in different positions. So again, depending on somebody's positioning, if there was a wheelchair access, or even for standing up, we can have it at this height, and people can play air hockey and can play games on it as well.
Wow,
so we have a complete flexibility of different positions. So when we talked about inclusion, that's it really. Accessibility, mobility, 8 hours on the charge, download whatever you want to play on it, and have some fun.
That's fantastic.
Simple as that.
So this was item A501, the digital rainbow, which is an absolutely amazing experience. It's an incredible activity, and I do think that every care home should have one without a doubt. I've been playing for ages, and it just constantly amazes me. It's absolutely brilliant. So Johnny, I'd love to say thank you to you to bring it along today. It's absolutely incredible. And please, people, book a demonstration, because you can need this in your home without a doubt.